This is the Wrestling Old Head. You have entered the portal of pro wrestling.
What the world is watching.
WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania 41 Night 1 is in the bag. So let's break down what happened like a shotgun. So, you know, I've seen some stuff online. It seems like Paul Levesque is going after some of the fans for their opinions of the way that the booking has gone and the build-up overall for WrestleMania 41. So there seemed to have been some spat with the online fans and Paul Levesque going into this event. You cap that off with the Las Vegas crowd not being as, smart or even as enthusiastic as you would want them to be. But I kind of figured that going in with the way that the prices were for the tickets. You weren't, I said this in one of my videos, I can't remember if it was the night 1 preview or the night 2 preview, where I was explaining that this crowd is going to be more about being there and about letting everybody know that they're there more so than joining in on the action. I mean, they were loud for Jey Uso, they were loud for the main event. There were a couple of moments here and there where you could hear them, but overall they weren't as loud as you would have expected or at least hoped for. But they had the same problem last year. You know, last year with WrestleMania 40, they weren't sure if they couldn't pick up the crowd noise because the way that they were sonically, you know, the acoustics and everything was set up, or if they just weren't being responsive. And you had some fans that were there that were saying that, hey, they were loud, you guys just couldn't hear it on the TV or whatever. But you know, regardless of that, you know, overall this crowd wasn't the most excited for this event. But they didn't, I mean, you could argue, did they have a reason to be this excited for the event? Most of the matches, you know, suffered from a lack of buildup, which again, the history of WrestleManias, this was kind of going back to the first WrestleManias, you know, like 1 through 8 or whatever, where the undercard didn't have a whole lot of build-up, you know. Fans weren't super excited to see Tito Santana against the Barbarian, you know, or even the Rockers, you know, against the Orient Express or whatever, you know. There wasn't a whole lot of exciting build. You know, and some surprised you, and then others were just kind of like, meh. And that's kind of what this WrestleMania was. But let's break it down. Jey Uso against Gunther opened the event, which we all kind of expected that to happen. You know, WrestleMania, you know, historically, the Royal Rumble winner always was in the main event. This one was a bit different this year. I don't mind the fact that it was on the opener of the event. You've got 2 world titles, and let's face it, the title for Raw, that is a secondary world championship. Sorry, hate to break it to those guys that are fans of that title. It's historically been the quote-unquote workhorse title, and I think it's fine for the way it is. But until we unify those titles and we have one world champion, some world title match has to go on in the undercard. Sorry, hate to break it to you guys. But Jey Uso wins here, and I didn't expect it to be an exhibition match, and that's exactly what it was. Like, I didn't expect it to go that route. I felt that the story would have been better with Gunther being, with Jey Uso starting off a house of fire, you know, wanting to brawl, wanting to take it to the outside, and gassing himself out, and that's when Gunther then starts to methodically break him down, like with, you know, rest holds, or putting work on the knee or the neck or a back, a body part, you know, and then slowly breaking Jey down and then busting him open. Like that belt shot, I thought that was where we were going to see Jey Uso bleed, and I thought that was going to be like he's bleeding buckets. He got cut with like the edge of the the title or something, and that's when Gunther was going to start rubbing the blood. And like, I felt like that would have told more of a story with Jey then being resilient and then coming out victorious, whether it be a small package or, you know, a bunch of splashes and then finally winning. This went a different route where it was just your standard, you know, wrestling match, and then Jey choked him out, but Gunther tapped, which I thought was interesting as well. They did a good job of like a passing of the torch to Jay there, but I don't know if they did Gunther any favors. It's going to be interesting on the other side of this to see where they go with Gunther now, because he's been built up so strong to tap out to someone like Jay, who's not a submission specialist. Like his sleeper hold or ability to put submissions in hasn't been his expertise. So it's interesting here, and you got the personal shots that the two took on one another in the build-up between Gunther and Jay. I fully expected more of a brawl, but and honestly, what we got was fairly pedestrian, But this was still a good match. I still felt like it should have went a little bit longer, considering it was the title match. The stakes were high, and this was a personal battle between the two, but it was fine for what it was. I was very shocked to see Gunther tap out, however, but Jay is now the main guy, so all eyes are on Jay here. So congratulations to Jey Uso, OG Bloodline member, winning the World Champion. The New Day beat the War Raiders for the tag titles. This was honestly slightly above what I expected from them, but this was pretty much your standard Raw match, the way that they had it all set up. No Big E, no Tony Hinchcliffe, which was kind of what I expected. This match I felt would have benefited or been boosted a bit with a little celebrity heat, but it was fine for what it was. But yeah, I mean, if you really, the fans going into this weren't super excited about this tag match. They just fully expected the Boo Day to finally get their opportunity with Tag Gold after they turned heel in January. And so this was just like a long time coming. We finally got it. But the War Raiders are kind of like that tag team that's from a forgotten era, from a long forgotten era. The Viking theme, the war theme, they very much seem like a tag team that would have thrived in the Attitude Era or a little bit before the Attitude Era even. I really like them. I like Ivar as a single star more than the tag team, in my opinion, but I really did feel like they haven't been given the opportunity to really stand out or thrive. Hopefully after this loss, they can retool, repackage, and build back up their momentum. Like, I would really like to see them, kind of go over to the SmackDown side and maybe work with the Street Profits and DIY and Pretty Deadly and then maybe move some of the other tag teams from SmackDown over to Raw and have them work with the New Day. But we'll see how the shuffle goes, because, historically after WrestleMania, there's a draft and they kind of move things around. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with the tag division, because they got the tag division boosted on SmackDown. They're top heavy with tag title contenders on SmackDown. I wonder if they chop that in half and send some over to Raw, if maybe we start to see a balance. But we'll see how that goes. But the Boo Day, they're the new tag team champions. Jade Cargill defeats Naomi. Naomi's outfit really reminded me of Owen Hart circa Nation of Domination. I don't know if I'm the only one. I know Owen Hart had the Danger, but the color scheme was similar. The Proceed with Caution. I love Naomi's new music. I felt like her entrance should have been more chaotic, though. I felt, she's still trying to get into this character of being unhinged, and I would love to see her go full crazy mode, like kind of a mixture between Nikki Cross and Io Sky when she was on NXT. Io Sky when she was on NXT, she came out, she was kind of demure, and then after a while she got crazy. Like, I would like to see something like that from Naomi, but maybe that's just apples and oranges, and maybe that's whatever. But she's really getting into her character, but I feel like we're ways away from her to really fully commit and go crazy. So I'd be interesting to see as her character adds more dimension, how she's going to handle her entrance and all of that. Because, we're still at the infant stage here for her character change, but I'm excited where she goes from there. Jade Cargill, probably one of her best matches as a singles competitor that I've seen. She's had a few good ones in AEW. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is her first singles match in the WWE, or maybe her second. I thought it was really well. Naomi really was a good partner for Jade Cargill in this match. She sold well for her. She really helped get over Jade Cargill's athleticism and prowess. I thought this was a great match. Those two have really good chemistry, and I'm excited to see what they have going forward. Another match where I felt like we would see a lot of brawling, a lot of outside, antics here, and we didn't really get all of that. We got some, but we didn't get all of what I expected, and we didn't get Jade Cargill putting Naomi, through a car or something post-match, which I expected to see. But they worked well together, and in my opinion, they both brought it here. It didn't overstay its welcome, and they accomplished that sense of a rivalry. And at the end there, it did kind of look like after Jade won that she was setting up for another, like a bicycle kick or something. But if you notice, she asked the ref if she should leave, and then she got out of there. That made me wonder if Naomi might have been hurt or if there was a miscue somehow and they had to call an audible. It was very interesting. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, which I typically do, so maybe there wasn't anything to it. Jade winning was really good. She got her WrestleMania moment. It's just fascinating to me that WWE is in Vegas, kind of where AEW really started, and Jade Cargill, which could have been their biggest homegrown female professional wrestler, got a big WrestleMania moment in the area where AEW started. Very fascinating. But I won't beat the dead horse with that, because I'm sure you've heard that in other areas or other channels. Jacob Fatu beat LA Knight for the U.S. title. To me, was a shocker. I know a lot of people were predicting that Jacob Fatu was going to win here. I didn't personally feel like they were going to pull the trigger, and I'm glad they did. I'm glad they went with the Samoan Werewolf winning, and that was an awesome moment with Haku, a.k.a. Ming, giving him praise for his win after the match. Fatu absolutely deserves this moment and this win at WrestleMania, as he was batting over 500 since his debut. Interesting that Solo didn't stick around for this match or even get involved. OG Bloodline member wins the show opening match with Jey Uso winning, and now a new Bloodline member, member is in the middle of the show winning a title. It's interesting where they might be going after this with Jacob Fatu now that he's the U.S. champion, and even where they go with LA Knight. I mean, I know LA Knight is super over and everything, and the crowd loves him, but he has essentially hit his ceiling as a face at this point. I mean, this was his, second or third U.S. title run. There is really nothing else that they can do short of him having a brief run as world champion, and it would be brief. Let's keep it real. I say, in my opinion, and, I'm the king of, make him go heel. I'm the king of that, saying that and everything, but clearly he needs a fresh coat of paint here, which if you remember a few months back, the crowd was ready to turn on him. I forget what happened, but I remember there was a crowd that were like, oh, we're going to turn him heel. I think it was something he said on the mic. It might have just been the general region. They just might have been, ready to crap all over him or whatever. But back in the day, Eli Drake was a phenomenal heel. He had the dummy button and that now infamous NWA promo, Shoes of a Champion. I think they should lean into that, to him snapping and going full heel and killing it as the Eli Drake version of LA Knight. That's just my opinion. I think it would do him some good. I do. I think there's not much else you can do here with LA Knight as a face. And nothing short of sending him to Raw and having him feud with Braun Breaker or something like that. I can't really see anything else for him at this moment as a face. I say turn him heel, maybe have him work a program with Jey Uso or something. I feel like there's not much else you can do right now. And you can always turn him back as a face. I know a lot of people were talking about him working with John Cena. I can see it. I just don't know, other than him losing to John Cena on a SmackDown or a special Saturday night's main event. Other than that, I really don't see what you can do with LA Knight as a face there. Move him on to a heel, in my opinion. Now, El Grande Americano, a.k.a. Chad Gable, beat Rey Fenix. Certainly not a shocker, but what was shocking was El Hijo del Vikingo in the front row confronting Chad Gable, and even the whole acquisition of AAA by the WWE, as well as the announcing of WWE's version of Forbidden Door, Worlds Collide, happening in June. But I have more on that in another video. I don't want to expound too much on that in this video. A lot to talk about in regards to that, because I don't know as far as like the current owners of AAA, if they're going to completely relinquish, or if this is like a 50-50, or how this is even working, and what may even happen as far as like Japan. You know, I would pay close attention to Japan here as well. You've got 3 companies in Japan. You've got Noah, All Japan, and New Japan. And then, of course, you've got the female companies. And then you've got some of the under Japanese promotions like DDT and, you know, and TJPW and things like that. But I think at the forefront, you got the 3 big companies. You've got AJPW and Noah work together. And then there was even a joint event with NJPW, AJPW, and Noah where they all work together as well. So I would keep your eyes on Japan. I have a lot of opinions on this. I'm going to hold off for a video that I'm going to do where I'm going to be talking about it. You guys want to stick around for that, because I'm not going to hold back. I got a lot to talk about with that. And I know a lot of people aren't going to be happy with my opinion on it, but I just say tune in and listen to what I have to say before you have a comment on that. Rey Mysterio Jr. getting hurt was very unfortunate on Friday's SmackDown, but it was amazing to see Rey Fenix take his place and have his first WrestleMania match during this acquisition of AAA by the WWE, and this close to his debut in the WWE. Great moment for Rey Fenix, a huge opportunity there, and I thought within 24 hours notice, they put together a pretty decent match. I mean, it didn't blow me out of the water or anything like that, but I thought for such short notice, having Fenix and Gable come together, and as far as I know and I'm aware of, their first ever encounter in the ring together, I thought they did a really good job. The chemistry is there. Gable can work with anybody. It's amazing. Conan not being there, or at least not being on camera, I hope he was in attendance. It would have been nice to see him there. Also, it would have been nice to see Glenn Gilberti, aka Disco Inferno, there too. It kind of would have, it would have been a cherry on top for all of this, because they had been talking about Rey Fenix and coming to WWE and the whole, you know, AEW just kind of dropping the ball with the Lucha Brothers. And Conan has been a big proponent of the Lucha Brothers. I think he helped bring Pentagon and Rey Fenix onto the big stages and everything. And, you know, going from Lucha Underground to their travels in TNA to getting to this point through AEW and now to here and wrestling in front of 61,000 people. What a huge moment. This was a showcase for Phoenix, as Chad Gable did a good job of making Phoenix look like a big deal. The foreign object in the mask spot was telegraphed. I mean, we all saw it coming, but I felt like they would have paid homage to the Black Scorpion a little bit and done a spot where, you know, Chad goes under the ring and someone else in a mask hits the ring to win, or some kind of a do-si-do there. But I'm sure they got that in the pocket and they can use that whenever. And especially going into this Worlds Collide event in Mexico, I feel like we're going to get a mask versus mask match. And up until then, El Grande Americano can run the gamut and, you know, gauntlet, or if you will, and go against all of the top Mexican talent now from AAA and beyond. You know, I mean, you can really keep this going with that. I hope, and my opinion, I know this is not the first time you're probably going to hear this, but my hope is that we get El Grande Americano against El Generico. I think that would be freaking awesome if they did that. Sami Zayn coming out as El Generico and beating El Grande Americano would be a moment. I know that's probably not going to happen, and that's wishful thinking, but it would be awesome. It would be awesome, because you got the whole, you know, fake folklore of El Grande Americano, and it just reminds me so much of El Generico. So I would love to see that, but, you know, I can only hope. That's me fantasy cooking. Probably not going to happen. Now, Tiffany Stratton beat Charlotte Flair in a match that, I mean, there was a lot of real animosity or supposed real animosity and heat going into this match. And they had a slow build to start. I thought that both women did a good job of of kind of piecing this together. It wasn't Charlotte Flair's best match. Tiffany Stratton is nervous. She's got the jitters. She's got the butterflies. She is being thrust into the spotlight in a big level, and I don't know if she's fully ready for that. And you can sense it on her aura, the way that she is on the microphone. You can tell that she's just not completely comfortable in this role. And hopefully she gets there. It's going to take time. They are completely rushing her push, in my opinion. Okay, I said that about Mariah May. If you've been watching the channel, I said that about Mariah May with Toni Storm, and I was wrong. Okay, Mariah May handled the spotlight well. Tiffany Stratton, I just think it's probably due in part to Charlotte as well. I'm not going to put all the blame on Tiffany Stratton here, and it's not even blame. It's just like what you're willing to handle. 61,000 people and being the top woman in the division for someone that has just recently gotten into professional wrestling. It's a huge thing to undertake, it's not even a blame here. It's not even a problem. It's just, it's going to take time for her to get comfortable in this role. And I don't know if Charlotte Flair is that dance partner, like how Naomi is for Jade. I don't know if Charlotte is the type of woman that's going to help cultivate Tiffany Stratton to find her comfortability, to find her gear, so we'll see. I don't know if this was just kind of a bunch of miscues, but it didn't go exactly how I thought it was going to go. I thought that they did some good things here. I thought the match, the clunkiness honestly felt like it benefited from being clunky because it gave it more of a realism, if that makes any sense. Like, it wasn't like clean, and that was fine because they were going off of the fact that there was real animosity, right? So it felt more like a real fight, if that makes any sense. It felt like they really didn't like each other and that they were really trying to put each other away at times. So I thought that was pretty good. Overall, wasn't the best matchup for them, but with Tiffany representing the future from the NIL program to the LFG program, her winning is a showcase to those coming into the system, and that if you go here into this program, eventually you make it to WrestleMania and win the whole shebang, right? So Tiffany Stratton will probably go to the WWE Evolution PLE if they have one as the champion in a potential rematch with Charlotte, where I do feel like Charlotte will win to even up the series, but they're going to keep this feud going. I guess they're not ready to squash it because Charlotte is probably going to even the series at 1-1. In the triple threat main event, it was like Punk, Rollins, and Reigns, more specifically Punk, watched the NXT Stand and Deliver triple threat main event and said, "Hold my non-alcoholic beverage and my donut." This was a fantastic match with all the drama and the surprise and the suspense of night two, of a night two main event. This was really good. I mean, obviously there were other great triple threat main event matches that the WWE has done for WrestleMania. A few off the top of my head, like Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Batista, Triple H, Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit, Triple H, Randy Orton, and John Cena. There have been a lot. This really was great. This got the crowd awake. It was a long night for that crowd, and they were completely alive and going crazy for this match. Not sure how they top this. And for the second time in a row, I'm watching a Punk match going, this should have been the main event of the whole thing, right? CM Punk is proving time and time again that he is worthy of the main event. And if not this year, going into 2026, he will be a world champion. Mark my words on that. It is inevitable. This is going to happen. Roman Reigns is taking more back shots than insert your name of your favorite porn star here. This guy was betrayed after being betrayed, and Punk was even betrayed. Like, I definitely saw Punk's betrayal coming, but I must admit I was surprised to see Heyman actually side with Seth Rollins and turn on Roman Reigns here. That was a huge moment, and I know a lot of people predicted that. I didn't think that they would actually pull the trigger there. I knew that eventually Heyman was going to split from Roman Reigns because there's a lot for Heyman to do here. Paul Heyman's promo on SmackDown or wherever, where he talks about he's got a lot of ammunition. Roman Reigns never apologized for ghosting him after WrestleMania 40. He never said, I'm sorry, when he came back into his life. He never showed appreciation for Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was like a dog. So this is going to be an interesting thing. Paul Heyman's got a lot of fuel. He's going to put on a promo of the year. Hey, man, nice shot. I said that a couple of times on X. Now I can actually say it. Hey, man, nice shot. Because he gave 2 ball shots to CM Punk and Roman Reigns. This was... And it's interesting here because the question is, where does this lead? Where do we go from here with Seth Rollins now having Wiseman by his side? This wasn't just Heyman turning on Roman Reigns and CM Punk. This was full-on siding with Seth Rollins. They are in alignment here. So this is interesting. All in all, this is going to be interesting to see where they go from here and how this impacts night 2. You know, with Bayley being out of the tag match, Lyra is probably going to look to get Becky. I thought we would see a heel turn by Lyra. I am now seeing that maybe Becky Lynch would turn heel and side with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, which I think somebody, it wasn't me, somebody had theorized that Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, and Paul Heyman would be an alliance coming out of WrestleMania. That person right now should go to Vegas because there is far more likelihood that we'll see that than we see a Lyra heel turn, or we even see we could even see The Rock joining up with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman and John Cena here. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of mystery shrouded in this move to end WrestleMania Night 1. But overall, that triple threat match really helped bring this show up from kind of like a solid show to kind of a must-watch, if only for the opener and the main event, in my opinion. So yeah, all in all, solid show, a little above average. The main event turned it into a very memorable event that is must-see. Outside of that, it was good, but nothing you should go out of your way to see aside from the main event and the opening match. But that was the best triple threat matches, one of the best triple threat matches the WWE main roster has done. It is up there with some of the best triple threat matches I've seen the WWE put on. And like with the NXT Stand and Deliver triple threat match, which I hope to talk about soon. It's been crazy weekend, but I hope to get some time to really talk about what I thought of that match, because that was phenomenal. Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans, they put on a match that could have been up there with any main roster match. If that match was at the WrestleMania card, it would have stole the show. So gotta give my hats off to those guys. All 3 of those guys put on star-making performances on NXT Stand and Deliver. Go out of your way to watch Stand and Deliver too, because it was a really good show as well. I wish I had time to talk about it, but I really didn't. So hopefully I'll be able to talk about it sometime this week or something. It'll be better late than never, but we'll see. But overall, WrestleMania Night 1 is in the books. I look forward to Night 2 to see where we go after this Seth Rollins-Paul Heyman alliance. And as always, you guys stick around because I'm going to have some comments about that. I'm hoping that I can put it out as Night 2 concludes, but we'll see. It's all about the timing, guys. It's all about the timing. But thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, this is the Wrestling Old Head coming out of the portal of pro wrestling. Stay tuned for more.